Good morning. Welcome, everyone. My name is Rachna. I'm the host for the Grad Chat program today. And it's a wonderful, beautiful morning outside. And in fact, it's week 4 of our Grad Chat program. And thank you for all the listeners who have provided us some great feedback. And quite popular, I see, among the graduates at the university today. And we are very, very fortunate to have leaders and participants from 10 grad groups and Subha from our grad group support coordinator, who actually offers a range of support services to the different grad groups at GSA, and we'll hear a lot about that today. So before I start off, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of our land, the land on which we are meeting in this virtual world. I meet on the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nations. I pay my respect to the past, present, and emerging leaders. And I also want to acknowledge the land on which we gather, the land of the Aboriginal and the Torres Strait Islanders. So welcome to all the panelists. And Subha, wonderful to have you on board.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you. And Subha, I may start off having a chat with you about, grad groups they're the heart of our program. And they are so loved, liked, and so it's such an engaged group of graduates we have in that area. So really, it's our opportunity to talk to a range of people who would like to talk about their own grad groups. But as the staff, along with Claire works along with Subha, but would you like to tell us a little bit about what are grad groups? I mean, let's talk to graduates who have not had experience about what grad groups are, and why do you think they're important from a graduate perspective and as from GSA?
Yeah, definitely. So grad groups are student-led and student-run groups that have affiliated themselves to the Graduate Student Association for means of funding or support. At GSA, we see grad groups as a vital part of the community. They're central to our mission to be the heart of the graduate student life. So GSA and grad groups, above all, have the shared goal of enriching the lives and experiences of graduate students at Melbourne Uni.
Fantastic. And can you just give us a bit of an idea of how many grad groups you actually host?
Yeah, definitely. So at the moment, we have upwards of 160 graduate groups that have affiliated with GSA. Any University of Melbourne graduate student can set up a grad group. You just need 6 members, a common interest, and some documentation, which obviously you guys know. But yeah, we have a really diverse range of grad groups as well. So we have a mixture of academic groups, business and enterprise groups, creative, media and performance, faith-based, international and cultural groups, activities such as sports and gaming, political campaigning and social justice groups, professional development groups, representation, special interest, sustainability and welfare and well-being. So a really diverse range of groups there.
Oh, wow, that is quite a large number of members and their interests. So, I mean, help me navigate this. I'm just a master's student and I have joined the university, and, I'm very new to the country and I'm wanting to explore to be a part of the grad groups. What should be my first kind of step? I've heard about it from my friends, and what do you think I should be doing to be a part of an existing grad group?
Yeah, definitely. So I think the first point would be to have a look at the range of grad groups we have. So either via our website, where you can go through every single group and what they're about and what they do and how to affiliate with them or how to join those groups through the website. Additionally, going to our clubs, sort of our graduate kind of stalls and meeting the groups at the start of every orientation, and then having conversations with those grad group leaders, those presidents. A real a point of difference there is that graduate groups are really engaged with new members. Everyone has a method of getting in touch. You can talk to the groups aren't behind any walls. You can get in touch with all those leaders. So yeah, it's as a master's student, definitely just having a look at the range of groups and just getting in touch and seeing if whether or not your values align or if you'd like to be a part of those groups.
And do I have to pay a fee or a cost or anything to be a member of a grad group?
It depends on the groups. For the most part, they are non-fee fee-bearing groups. Usually, if they do have fees, it's below $5 annually. So it just depends on the group. And if they do have fees, it's usually around things that are like tangible costs for events or for subscriptions to magazines. But for the most part, they're free.
Oh, fantastic. I understand you've got a lot of grad groups leaders who've come along today to join us. And I wondered whether we could invite Matthew. And Subha, if you want to introduce Matthew and tell us a little bit about his group, and then he can join us and tell us a little more about the activities they run. So welcome on board, Matthew, and Subha, to you.
Yeah, so Matthew is the president of the MD Acapella Choral and Acapella Society. So the MD Acapella is a non-for-profit choral and acapella group for medical students. Their aims are to create a fun and inclusive community, offering medical students an opportunity to relax through a shared passion of singing, with an open main core choir group that welcomes any vocal range, any skill level, any level of time commitment, and any genre of music. There will also be scope for more committed singers to establish smaller ensembles and engage in charitable performances and activities.
Wow, that's fantastic. So Matthew, I may just get you, but is it necessary that I love the thing of the word non-vocal? So tell us a little bit about your group, Matthew.
Thanks, Rachna and Subha. Yeah, so our group, as Subha's already mentioned, is primarily about, sort of de-stressing and taking time off studies. So we're a group that was formed by a few medical students who missed being in choirs back in undergrad when we had a bit more time. Getting into postgrad is quite a busy time, and we thought, well, what better way to take a bit of time off than do a bit of singing with our friends. So we created this group that is for any medical student of any singing level, no experience required whatsoever. And we generally meet weekly on a Monday night and just sort of have a sing-along together. Despite the sort of low experience levels, everyone has sort of come with such an amazing level of enthusiasm. And throughout last year, which was our first year, we actually managed to learn enough songs and gained a lot of singing skills to hold a concert at the end of the year, which was extremely successful. And we're just sort of pushing forward in these difficult times and trying to continue our group activities.
Fantastic. And I mean, we talked about difficult times, and we, at GSA, we do want to acknowledge that it has, the COVID-19 has, impacted the world, but it's put an extreme amount of stress on the student community. And so Matthew, if I am a member, and how have you been managing your activities during this period of time?
So it has been quite difficult for us because our primary activity was meeting up all together and holding rehearsals and preparing for performances. Due to sort of technical limitations, it's quite difficult to hold rehearsals by streaming. So the solution that we've come up with is to record vocal parts and send these out to our members in both an audio and a video format. And we've asked our members to go through the videos and record their parts so that we can put all the parts together. Because of sort of the logistics of this, we've been able to actually extend this out to more than just our group members, but out to all of the medical cohort. And we're hoping to get as many people involved as possible in creating a video.
Oh, that's fantastic to hear, Matthew. And thank you so much for your time. And there's information about your group on our website for people to join. And we could be, I think Tevita could be talking to you very soon if we could have one of your performances that we can air on our Zoom webinars. So, you know, we definitely offer our Zoom webinars to people who would like to showcase their work or their group's work. So thank you so much. And Suba, talk to me a little bit about the support that you offer. You know, you talked about affiliate. What is the meaning of an affiliate?
Yeah, so affiliation is a contract between a group's committee and GSA, regardless of whether a student club or group has been around for years or has only just started to come together. The affiliation process allows a student group to officially become a grad group. When a group affiliates with GSA, it remains essentially a separate entity. GSA provides them provides support to their group, but expects that the group sort of complies with its procedures and requirements and governs itself effectively, just because graduate students are very different to undergrads in the sense that they are autonomous. A lot of them have experiences running groups, but even if not, a part of what GSA provides is the support. I can go into the kinds of things that we offer grad groups. So obviously the obvious one is funding and grants. Usually we offer rooms and equipment hire, representation and contacts within our representation and advocacy team. We offer networking opportunities not only within the GSA and the University of Melbourne network, but also to other grad groups. A big part of what graduate groups would like to do and are interested in is meeting either like-minded groups or somebody totally different. So a good example is the interest between the medical student societies and the law student societies of getting together and meeting a diverse range of people. We also offer marketing assistance, training and development, so things around governance, administration of groups and corporate development, and as public liability insurance and services, support and advice for everything in between. So grant advice, sponsorship advice, and so on.
Fantastic. And it'd be lovely to hear from Michael. So Suba, if you'd like to introduce Michael and his group to us.
Yeah. So Michael is the president of the University of Melbourne Nursing Students Society. This group represents students of the nursing associated postgraduate qualifications. It runs social, education and charitable events, assists new students with settling into the course, and provides a link between students and academic staff.
Fantastic, Michael. Could you like to tell us a little bit about your group? And we do want to extend you know, our support to some of our nursing students who have had considerable amount of stress during this period of time. So tell us a little bit about your group.
Yeah, thank you, Rachna and Sua, for the wonderful introduction. So as you guys said, the nursing cohort, what we do is we try to provide different events, such as raising money for Nepal camps, or for example, just bringing the cohort together. And besides that, we do other informative events such as OSCE nights or placements, just so that the students are a little bit more aware of what to expect when they do go out and things like that.
Fantastic. And how many members do you have in your group, Michael?
So of the two cohorts, we have roughly about 200.
Fantastic. That's a large number of group of people. And how have you been engaging during this period of time where, you know, it's challenging in its own ways, normally trying to do a nursing course and trying to coordinate activities, but during this period of self-isolation, what kind of activities have you been trying to continue?
Yeah, so definitely during this time, it definitely kind of created more of a hardship on how are we going to do those things, but we definitely increased the communication, making sure that, you know, our Facebook group, it's open to all the members so that they can go ahead and message us. We've also been hosting more Zoom meetings and webinars online of just letting the nursing cohort know what's happening, what's going to be happening on placements, especially creating a direct line of communication with the faculty, staff, and the nursing students.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Michael. And it's wonderful to hear a little bit about your group. And please jump onto the website and you know, get to know a little bit about the group. reach out to them. And I think those connections and support which we offer, even virtual or the groups offer, it definitely goes a long way. And to offer that community support, it's fantastic. I may actually also get Shannon to talk a little bit about her group. So Subha, if you can introduce Shannon and tell us a little bit about the group.
Yeah, absolutely. So Shannon is the president of Crossing Borders Melbourne. Crossing Borders aims to advocate for the rights of asylum seekers and refugees through public education, community building, and political engagement. They provide opportunities for students to volunteer directly through detention centre visits, community meals, and political engagement. Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks, Rachna and Soba. Yes, I'm Shannon. I'm president of Crossing Borders Melbourne. We were a group originally designed for medical students, but over the years have expanded to all students at the University of Melbourne, and we have groups in most universities across Australia. So we normally run 3 sets of initiatives. One is our volunteering arm, which consists of meal share programs with asylum seekers and refugees living in the community. And our other one is detention centre visits to the Broadmeadows Detention Centre, where we take a small group of students and play some sports with the residents or some arts and crafts. Education sessions are mainly for health or clinical based students, and are primarily designed to upskill and make them feel more confident working with patients from diverse backgrounds, especially those from asylum seeker and refugee backgrounds. And lastly, our political engagement or advocacy stream involves giving our students a voice and allowing them to engage in political debate and in things like signing petitions, attending rallies, and engaging in the asylum seeker and refugee discourse.
Oh, thank you so much, Shannon. I mean, it's such a valuable piece of work, and often I think in the last few weeks that we've experienced this challenging period, we often tend to forget that their struggle has been ongoing, and it's been, it's something that we can putting a priority on somebody's pain and suffering can never have a rating or a ranking. And I think it's important for us to continue this work. And, we at GSA wholeheartedly support the work that you all do. And I think, it's very, very important that while we are very concerned about our own health and safety, that we don't forget the invisible faces in our community. And I think that GSA would like to plug in this extra, advocacy that we would like to continue to do with Shannon's group, and ensure that there is a community cohesiveness, there's no room for racism in our community, and that we adhere to the value of human rights. So thank you, Shannon. And we encourage people again to get onto the website, to keep in touch with Shannon or Matthew and Michael, and get onto your, any groups that you'd like to be on. So Subha, I may get back to you and get an idea of if I go onto the website, I find there isn't any group that, of my particular interest or a value or an issue that I want to, join. How would I go? And I've got about 6 to 8 of my friends or graduates who are interested. How would I go about setting up a group?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Where do I get information?
Yeah, absolutely. So setting up a group has become a lot easier and is a fairly simple process. Firstly, it would be by getting in touch with myself or Claire through the website. There's a link that says start a grad group, and as long as you've got those 6 members, you've got a shared interest, and then what you need to do is some documentation. Now, I think that is the part that people maybe say have like a bit of a psychological barrier to, but what we have are a lot of resources to make that process a lot simpler. So we've got templates for constitutions, we've got templates for membership lists, and we can help you through the process of setting up a bank account. What we do also have is just the support of myself and Claire. We're around every single day from 9 to 5 during the week to help you through that process. Yeah.
Fantastic. We've got Peter here, and Peter, Suba, if you can introduce Peter and tell us a little bit about his group, as well as Peter, if you can join us after that.
Absolutely. So Peter is the co-president alongside Coco, who is also in this panel, for Film, Arts, Media and Entertainment Law Student Society, so FAME LSA. FAME LSA is a student organisation seeking to engage law students with the entertainment and related creative industries. There is an evident gap in industry opportunities and knowledge that interested law students actively seek. FAME LSA provides these opportunities by creating an avenue for students to engage with local events, network with professionals, and engage in educational platforms.
Fantastic. So we've got Peter and Coco joining us today from the same group. So I may just, if we can get both of you to speak a little bit about your group, as well as how best people can join your group, or what are some of the activities that you're currently running in this environment, or what you plan for the future.
Yeah.
So I may start off with Coco.
Yep. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's very well. Very well.
Cool. Yeah, so we started FAME at the end of last year. We just kind of came together and found a shared passion for, the intersection of the law and the arts. We are law students, and that's where it's geared, is towards the law school, but we are also very open to all graduate students. We do a lot of our stuff that's not related to the law. At the moment, a lot of it obviously is social and kind of communications based, given that we can't really, go to festivals and support events and all that kind of thing. So to join, there's just a Google form. We have a website. Our wonderful communications director has put together an amazing website that updates weekly. And there's a form on there to sign up. We're also active on Instagram and Facebook, so very easy to kind of reach out and join up.
Yeah, thank you. And Peter, can you talk a little bit about your membership and how many members you have, and generally how do people interact with one another, and what do you see some of the benefits for people to join your group?
Yeah, sure. So currently FAME LSA has just over 100 members. I think we have roughly 107 members. A lot of our membership base is the incoming first year Juris Doctor cohort. And I think a lot of our challenges this year have been trying to engage them and helping them find a sense of community when they're no longer on campus after 3 weeks in their first semester of the Juris Doctor.
Yeah.
So what we have kind of done to transition is, like Coco said, our communications director has kind of been working overtime, and we have currently been trying to relieve her a little bit of the stress that she has, kind of being the main avenue for communication. But we've, instead of focusing on careers as much, as it's not a great time for careers in the creative industries, unfortunately, we've kind of been focusing more on the social aspect. So, for example, every second Thursday, we currently have a Netflix watch party where our membership base come together, and we will pick a theme for the week and we'll watch a film in regards to that theme. We have a newsletter coming out every fortnight as well, with reviews and recommendations. And we also look at other things in regards to careers by interviewing people within the industry, whether that be barristers, solicitors, academics, or even young graduates, and how they interact with the career space.
Oh, fantastic. So, I mean, it's even though it's good for people to understand that, it's just it is just not about the faculty that you're working in. It's actually to look after the group of people in your faculty who may, to ensure there is, you know, an opportunities provided for networking, opportunities provided for having discussions with people who are in the sector, you know, and I think the idea of the Netflix sounds really, really interesting. So, okay, on a lighter side, what was the last Netflix session you had on, and how was the attendance?
So our last Netflix watch party was actually our biggest one yet. And that probably is due to us hiring 3 first-year ambassadors as well. So I think that was a great way to, you know, channel our communication through that year level. And that was Howl's Moving Castle, which is an anime film on Netflix.
Oh, fantastic. That sounds very, very creative, really, really good. And thank you, Coco and Peter. And it's good to have 2 of your members, you know, from your 2 of you come along to plug in and talk about it. I mean, I cannot emphasize more that for us at GSA, the grad groups are the heart of the work that we do. You know, the organization is about facilitating and supporting graduates to find a meaningful space for engagement. And I think the grad groups have, you know, brought in the range of interest, the range of activities to the organization. And I think we've had exemplary staff too, and who have facilitated that. So I've been here only from, you know, as a CEO from September, and just, I think the last week, I mean, I think a month ago, I was listening to them talking about a 139 grad groups. And last week when I had a catch up with Suba and Claire, and when they said 160, I kept saying, is it 116 or 160? And, you know, they had to highlight and say to me, it's 160. So please, I do request everyone who's listening to the grad groups, contact the presidents, contact different members or in your group, you know, talk to them about your interests, talk to them about the activities that they run, talk to our staff. And it's a wonderful space to be in. And, you know, I feel really, really fortunate that I can be a part of an organization that facilitates this kind of activities. So I may get Vincent, Subha, before you speak to Vincent, if you can just let me know, when we talk about financial support, what's the kind of range of what can the funds be utilized for? And would you be able to just give us a broad explanation as well as where we can find some more information about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So GSA funding, sorry, my mute. So GSA provides funding to grad groups through a range of different options. So firstly, the major one is the annual funding. We allocate annual funding based on membership size. So we have different membership tiers. So starting from small groups get about $500 annually, up to our larger groups that get upwards of $8,000 in their annual funding. Now this funding is done through the process of reimbursement. So the grad group will spend the funds. Now these funds have to be spent on things that align with staff criteria, things around engagement, community building, support, all the main aims of the group, and then they can spend those funds and then be reimbursed for them. So that's our major effort in funding. Now the other thing you can do is receive special grant funding. So special grant funding are grants of a maximum of $2,000 to help a group put on major projects, major events. Now this is kind of considered based on how special it is for the group. What we're looking for is projects that help groups with their main aims within the group and help them further what they're trying to achieve.
That's fantastic. And welcome on board, Vincent. So Subha, if you can introduce Vincent, and Vincent, if you can tell us a little more about your group.
Absolutely. Now, Vincent is the president of the University of Melbourne Planning Students Society, connecting people through a culture of inclusiveness, mutual relationships and fun. MUP seeks to bridge the pathway to employment, promote planning as a discipline and help make the Melbourne University of Design a great place to study. Thanks, Vincent.
Great, thanks for having me.
So Vince, can you tell us a little bit about your group and, the interest in the group, what activities you run, and what have you been doing in the current environment?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So as was previously mentioned, we're really about creating that bridge between urban planning and design students with industry leaders, practitioners, academics around critical issues affecting the growth and development of cities and regions ultimately. And we do that through a variety of different ways. Some involve monthly speaker events. We've in the past had a very successful Planning at the Pub series where we'll invite a speaker and an academic along to share some insights from their career. We've also done study group sessions as well too for our members in the lead up to exams. We have done social get-togethers and things like interview nights as well too, or CV nights where we'll bring in recruiters to give a little bit of a perspective on what they're looking for in the industry. So there's quite a wide range of activities that we engage in, and our signature event is probably our industry night that we've run every year. That brings together about 20 different organizations across local government councils, certain consultancies, and that event last year had 120 students or 120 in total that came out, and about 80 of those were students. So, and actually a big part of that too was we were very fortunate to get some GSA funding for that event as well too. So certainly have appreciated the support over the years from GSA.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic, Vincent, the work that you'll do, because I think one of the challenges that, you speak to graduates all across the sector, or in particularly too in University of Melbourne, is that the importance of understanding what you're studying and how you can develop your career from what you're studying, and getting an understanding of what's happening in the industry, being able to get pointers of your interest of your career, what you want to pursue and what's out there. It's so important. And I think having that kind of group which allows that informal conversation just allows the graduates to look at different opportunities. So it's a fantastic activity group that we definitely would love to continue to fund and support. And is the information about joining your group all on your website, or what's the best way if I'm a student who's studying urban planning and have interest in your group, how do I get onto the group?
Yeah, definitely. So we're active on most social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, we have a LinkedIn page as well. And then on our Facebook page, which is probably the most active, there's links there to how to sign up as a member. And I suppose one of the things that we are pushing as part of not only a membership drive, but also just ways that we've had to shift our activities this year, obviously under very different circumstances, is that we've moved our Planning at the Pub series to a virtual pub series now, and structured around different themes. So certainly for those that have an interest in urban issues, we did one recently on planning for pandemics, where we brought an interdisciplinary panel of an epidemiologist, a transport planner, and also an e-health professional together to talk about how what cities can learn from things like COVID-19.
Yeah.
We're doing one on the future of mobility. So certainly that's a great way to get involved with the club, is to join one of our activities, sign up for a membership at the same time, and get connected.
Thank you so much for that information. So just another plug into graduates who are there. I think one thing about graduate groups is the interest may be varied, but it appears there's fantastic opportunity to be involved in groups that run activities to support your career progression, support career activities to support your mental health and well-being, address social connection, also be an opportunity to, be a good advocate, to campaign for a different issue or an issue of interest. So, I mean, I say you just pick one, and there's something for everyone there. So we're coming back to your team. You're a team of two, and I know that for 160, it seems very little limited and resources, but we do try as much as possible to reinvest. We spend about just for people who do not understand what SAF means, is a student services amenities fee that each student pays when you are a graduate or an undergraduate of any university. And that funding is what GSA receives from the university, from the Commonwealth government, to support us to run our activities. And we spend more than around $220,000 every year to spend. We do get a small bucket of funding. It's around just a bit over 2 million. And we definitely use the funding generously as much as we can to support the groups, apart from supporting our 2 staff members to do their work. And we've moved it from a part-time position to be effectively a full-time hours that's been allocated between Suba and Claire. So Suba, if I am, I'm a member of a club and I want reimbursements happening, or I want questions to be answered, and I know, how do I kind of best communicate with you all?
Yeah,
to staff members.
Definitely. So now that we have 2 people who are available every weekday from 9 to 5, there are a lot of ways of getting in touch with us, and we try to be diverse in how we can get in contact with you so you can find the best and most convenient way for getting in touch. So we're firstly available via our GSA Grad Group's email address, which I've definitely spoken to most of you through. As well as that, you can contact us both through just the GSA lines. So you can get in touch with us via phone. You can also, if you're looking to have a discussion in regards to projects or something that can't necessarily be conveyed through a quick email, we're definitely more than happy for you to set up a meeting, or to set up a meeting through Zoom and our Calendly if you wanted to have a discussion. We love to get in touch with grad groups and work out things, either like their budgets, or how to go about applying for a special grant, or even just some advice for running events and even virtual events. So you can go email, phone, you can set up a Zoom. Yeah.
Fantastic. So I just wanted to invite Kennedy from the African Studies Group to talk a little bit. Suba, if you could introduce him and talk a little bit about your group and how people can be involved in that group.
Yeah, definitely. So as you said, Kennedy is the president of the African Studies Group. The African Studies Group is a postgraduate student-led discussion group at the School of Social and Political Sciences. It is open to both students and staff whose research interests and activities are either focused on Africa or have relevance to African studies. The study group critically engages with issues such as colonialism, politics, development, conflicts, land disposition, extraction of natural resources, gender and governance in Africa, among others. It is a platform for student socializing, cohort building, support, and sharing experiences.
Fantastic. So welcome, Kennedy, and could you please tell us a little bit more about your group?
Thank you very much, and thank you for the very generous introduction. So first and foremost, I'm happy to sort of join this very interesting discussion, and it's good to hear what the GSA is doing, as well as what the other groups are doing as well. So I think it's quite interesting and a very useful conversation to have. So I think just a brief description of the Africa Studies Group. As described, we sort of are a student-led group, mostly postgraduate students, and we provide a space for anyone interested in Africa or Africa-related studies to just come together. And we usually convene monthly meetings at the last February of every month. So tomorrow we'll have one. And in fact, it'll be a very interesting topic. So we'll be talking about the pandemic and how, for example, some countries such as in African countries have been responding to this, but more importantly, for example, some of the issues that have come up with a WHO director and all that. So because he's African. So part of that sort of broad-ranging discussions, part of like the core activity that we have as a group. But over and beyond the seminars that we have at the end of every month, we have a suite of other activities. And last month, for example, we convened an annual conference, which sort of brought people from within Australia and outside of Australia. So we got good support from the GSA. And I think the bigger point in that is when we were having our monthly seminars, we realized there were some topics or some themes that were running across, and many people were actually interested in engaging the group in a way that we could not accommodate everyone. So we decided to convene a conference where we'd have first and foremost students from the uni and staff as well, and anyone interested in the topic sort of presenting, but we also had people from outside coming in to present. So I think for us, that also marks how our group, we still have our core focus, but we've also opened it up a little bit to more activities to have a greater outreach. And I think at the end of the day, we try to provide a space where the student community, first and foremost, can have that platform and good space for sharing, but also opening bridges to try and collaborate with other people and other groups who we have shared interest and might enrich our activities. I think that's a brief description or overview, but I'll be happy to give any clarifications or respond to any questions.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kennedy. It sounds such an amazing platform for people to, not only hear as a student cohort about, your shared values and interests, but also be able to engage with external stakeholders to get more clarity and gain more insight about issues and concerns or information about, particular focus issues that you'd like to pursue. So actually, it's so wonderful to kind of have a breadth of graduate groups come here today and present and talk a little bit about your groups. I may just probably, as an opportunity that I have not actually had a time either to speak to individual groups like that, and just, I must say, it's always on my to-do list, and it just seems to be the to-do list. So I'm really, really grateful to Suba and the members who've made this time to chat. I may just open up the platform, and I may ask you individually if you had any questions of GSA or if you had any suggestions. But just before I move there, I do want to say to you that, the GSA is governed by 15 council members who are elected by the student cohort, the graduates of our community. We're currently under an election mode. And it's a great opportunity. All the names of the council members are always published on the website. I understand a few of our graduate group are also have good close links and connections, or are members of our council members, are members of the graduate groups. So having discussions with them about the plans or your ideas about the graduate groups is a fantastic way to keep the organization informed. But I do strongly recommend to the graduate groups that for operational issues, as well as to practically, if it's anything to do with your funds, your establishment of your groups, to resource your groups, to problem solve issues emerging from your groups, our staff are the best contact. So, please keep communicating to Suba and Claire, and we will get onto it. And we do apologize if there's been some delays or, shortcomings, because I think we ourselves are getting used to working in this virtual environment. And so I may just go in an order and see, Matthew, did you have any questions of GSA or any final comment?
I think just in general, I think GSA has been doing a really good job at staying connected with all the groups. So just wanted to say a thank you for that. It's just been very appreciated in a time when we all sort of need a bit more support.
And to all the members in the community is, I think developing an interest like singing or being a part of a hobby is always helps you to, it's good for your mental health. It's a good way to connect with your community. It's also good to kind of reach out and see that there are other people also in the same situation and you're not on your own. So I do encourage you to join the group. And Matthew, thank you so much for your time. Any suggestions for improvement, Matthew, to GSA?
Honestly, I think GSA has really been doing a fantastic job. And I think just keep doing what you're doing in terms of engaging with the groups as you have been and offering support services, and hopefully a lot of the groups take you up on those offers.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I may move on to Michael. Michael, thank you for joining us, and the same questions that I posted to Matthew.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was really wonderful to have this platform to see what the other groups are doing, and kind of inspired me to, maybe incorporate some of those ideas into my cohort, so that way they can still be entertained and have a sense of community during these tough times. I don't have any suggestions on how you guys can improve, because you guys are doing a wonderful job. So thank you for that, and keep up the great work.
Fantastic. Thank you, Michael, and remain safe. And Coco and Peter, and I may ask Coco first and then move on to Peter. And similar questions, any ways we can support you further, or any comments?
Oh, nothing at the moment. We just want to, thank you for how supportive everything has been, and adapting to the new situation. I don't think we have anything particular to ask. Just a question.
Peter, do you have any comment for a plug-in to the students out there to join your groups, or any suggestions to GSA?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for having us on the panel to spread the news about FAME and providing a platform to talk about the changes that we're putting into. I think just maintaining the support that you guys have been running, the access to new forms of funding, and the sounding boards that you guys have provided for us as well in relation to direction has been incredibly helpful. I guess if any person wants to get involved in any form of student group at the moment, go onto the GSA website, or go out and find them, and we'll certainly do our best to try and find you as well. I think it's more important than ever to engage in a hobby to escape from your perhaps working or regular student life at the moment.
Thank you so much, Peter. And really, I cannot emphasize more that, we do have guidelines about certain funding. We are hoping that every year we keep communicating to you to see whether the current mechanism works, where the shortcomings are. So keeping the communications going with Suba and Claire is so important, because as I said, with 160 groups, it's very varied, and it's very, the size of the group changes, and we just need to know that we're supporting you adequately for running your activities. And I do emphasize that, these are public funds, and that's why sometimes there is a bit of a rigor in setting up some accountability for you. I know it's an additional piece of work, but we're always there to support you with your accountability, and please reach out to us if you need any support. So Shannon, any final words from you?
I just want to echo what everyone else has said. This has been really great hearing about what other groups are doing, and thank you GSA for all the support you give grad groups. It's really appreciated. I think the only comment I would have is, if you have any information on how we can run events from home, like certain virtual platforms to run movie screenings, or run educational events apart from Zoom. Something that my group would be really interested in hearing about.
Fantastic. Thank you, Shannon. I will get that. I will get Tavita and Suba to send some information to all of you, because we have this platform, you know, and it can be a video platform too, if we have consent from the participants to reach out to your groups. We can provide these platforms for you to host in the weekend too, which we have access to. So definitely be able to facilitate that and continue doing the great work that you're doing. And I may just get Kennedy to say a few words finally, if there was anything that you'd like to add.
For sure, thanks. So I think first I'd just like to echo sort of the comments from the other participants that I think you've done a fantastic job, you know, keeping us updated and sort of providing different forms of support. And I think you should keep that. That is really useful. So as a group, we found that quite useful. And maybe as a suggestion, because from this conversation, I've gathered very interesting things that other groups are doing. And I think on some things, there might be quite some useful sort of points that we might collaborate on. So I don't know whether the GSA has a sort of a page or where we have these grad groups listed, because I think that'll be really useful to sort of showcase that, and we can see what each other is doing and maybe do some things together. So I think that might be useful if it's not there already.
Okay, thank you, Kennedy. I may get Suba to respond to that if that's possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So firstly, we do, so on our website, there is a join a grad group page, which lists all 160 plus grad groups and what they're about. So if you wanted to either get in touch through there, or even as a grad group leader, if you wanted to get in touch with myself or Claire, just letting us know what kind of groups you were interested in collaborating with, or what you wanted to collaborate on, we're very happy to sort of match groups up and make some links there. I also just wanted to mention, someone mentioned earlier about whether or not we had some ideas for virtual events and communications. We definitely do, and obviously we will pass that information on to you. However, we also have a tool called the Grad Group Engagement in COVID-19 How-To Guide, which has a really sound and diverse list of platforms, projects of engagement that I think would be beneficial if you haven't had a look at it, worth having a see for all of you. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And Vincent, could you, I mean, I just wanted to talk to you. I mean, I think your group sounds interesting, but do you have any suggestions for GSA, or any final words to the graduates in the planning, if people are interested in planning?
Yeah, once again, thanks and appreciate the opportunity to connect and hear from other groups. Really valuable. The I would say that one thing, I guess, just to add that, as I was listening to some of the comments from the other groups, would definitely encourage the other groups as well too to consider the some of the potentials for the online sessions that Zoom can scale up to. So our event, we were very fortunate to have. I think we had about 60 people that tuned in for the Planning for Pandemics event. And one of the formats that we experimented with was using breakout sessions on Zoom. So some people may be familiar with how that works. I'm not sure if everyone's tried it before, but as a host, it's really quite simple. You could just click a button and it assigns random groups. So we had the panel, we had a breakout, and then people could actually engage in a almost, you can choose how large the groups are, but we had smaller sessions of 4 to 5 people gathering, and then brought everyone back together as a full group later on for the discussion. So the feedback that we got from that event was really, really positive. But one of the things that we were trying to wrap our heads around, and we couldn't in the end figure out whether or not we could, I know with Zoom it's possible to Facebook live stream, but we were trying to troubleshoot this technical issue, and it might be out of the remit of GSA to work out something like this, but I could see the potential for lots of groups also wanting to do similar things if they want to have broader reach with their, let's say, digital events. Yeah, so if there's any advice on how to actually figure out that issue, because we tried for a long time.
Definitely.
That would be fantastic.
So I may post that back to Tavita, and Tavita, if we can, I think that's a very good idea. I can assure you, Vincent, the Zoom world was very new to me too.
Zoom world is new to everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just found myself suddenly, I think I had quite a lot of years doing radio, but I kind of found this whole technology thing where I used to bug my staff a lot. And I think probably finally they did give me a bit of the comprehensive professional development I required. So I think, Tavita, if we can host something like that through our university, for just with the use of Zoom for our grad groups, and if we can facilitate that, that would be fantastic. And thank you for that suggestion and how best we can live stream them. So fantastic.
Absolutely.
So as we come to the end of the sessions, I just want to particularly thank Suba and Claire for the fantastic work that they've done in the last 6 to 8 weeks, but they continue to do such good work. And so I am so grateful for all your comments and to endorse the work that they're doing. And we definitely want to continue improving the way we fund and source the grad groups and provide platforms like this, not only in a virtual, but in a real environment. But if there's any, we are hoping to email all of you by the end of this week on the different Zoom seminars that we're hosting. And if your group would like to showcase your work on any of the events where we even have people from the university who come and speak to us about, the different policies and the policy platforms that they have changed during this period of time, we welcome you to send a participant from your group to be on the panel or be an attendee. So thank you so much, Suba, and all the participants today. A big plug-in, please ensure you jump on to the website, read all about the different grad groups, contact their president or a member, and be a member of the grad groups. Everyone joining in this period is the only way to remain connected. And thank you so much for your wonderful work. Bye, everyone.